propaganda, Joe Rogan, Spotify. In this breaking story, as of today, we have officially become no checks propaganda state. That's right, the USA. And in this breaking story, we're not the only ones who are taking notice and calling it out. Major allies in major other countries are absolutely sick of it because Joe Rogan gets more than 50 million regular viewers. And if you don't think what he says and the people on his show say that affected this election and how people voted, you were not paying attention. And I'm going to let this speak for itself. Absolutely absurd.
Joe Rogan has done something remarkably silly. Recently, he made a bit of a blunder on his show. So what happened is, Joe Rogan was talking about a very sad video he watched of a father-son boxing match where the father beat the shit out of his son and people cheered and it made him sick. But the problem is, what Joe Rogan is describing is not the reality of what he watched. What he was talking about is the Creator Clash, which was a YouTuber boxing event, and the match in particular he's referring to is Matt Watson versus Dad. Dad is the YouTuber's online handle. So Joe Rogan watched that and believed it was a real father-son boxing match.
I saw a video today of a boxing match between a father and a son. It made me so sad because there's this young kid. He looks like he's probably like 17 or 18, and the father's 42. And the father beats the shit out of him. I mean, like, dings him in the head and keeps punching him. I'm like, that's your son.
He has an entire team around him, and not a single one bothered to correct it. This is a matter of Joe Rogan not even bothering to turn the sound on, because if you unmuted it, you would hear us, the commentators, explaining, like, the event.
You're supposed to not even hurt him. Like, slam him in the body a little bit. Like, you think he can fight? Okay, good dude. Okay, let's have a little boxing match. You don't tee off on your son's face on television. It's crazy.
So he had to have watched this with the sound off in order to even come close to misunderstanding what was happening.
He looks young. He's real skinny. And the father's kind of jacked. I don't know what the thing was. That you failed. You failed as a man. Yeah, this is it.
That's not exactly what was happening.
It's not? What is it?
They're not father-son.
Oh, why does it lie? It says father knocks out son in celebrity boxing match.
Gotta get somebody to click on this.
Oh.
This was like a YouTuber thing. This guy's a YouTuber and he's a YouTuber.
So you'd have to actually be watching that with the sound off and very close to passing out from overdosing on Xanax to even for 1 second believe what you were witnessing was a real father-son match.
I'm such a sucker.
Yeah, I'm just a sucker. I only affected the election by doing things like not paying attention with my staff and research on what something's really about before I spew it out. Yeah, Joe and Spotify, it isn't funny. And you just got called out by the country of Australia.
I have a question about Joe Rogan, and you've sort of touched on elements of this in the US. He's obviously the world's most popular podcast host. He has 3 billion listeners. He's sort of managed to successfully capture that bro market in America. And his influence is such that in the wake of the US election, the Democrats have said that one of Kamala Harris's mistakes was that she didn't appear on his program. So I'm just wondering if you had any observations about what's behind the Joe Rogan effect, how you believe he's managed to so successfully capture this huge market. And then for us here in Australia, you know, how would or should the ABC be going about capturing that kind of audience?
Look, I'm not sure that I'm the right person to respond to that question. I am not a consumer or enthusiast about Mr. Rogan and his work.
Shocking.
I am not one of the 3 billion, and I'm unlikely to be 3 billion and one anytime soon. I think people like Mr. Rogan prey on people's vulnerabilities. They prey on fear, they prey on anxiety, they prey on all of the elements that contribute to uncertainty in society, and they entrepreneur fantasy outcomes and conspiracy outcomes as being a normal part of social narrative. I personally find it deeply repulsive, and to think that someone has such remarkable power in the United States is something that I look at in disbelief. I'm also absolutely in dismay that this can be a source of public entertainment when it's really treating the public as plunder for purposes that are really quite malevolent.
Maybe the FCC should give the executives at Spotify a call with regards to disinformation and propaganda. Maybe, just a thought, while Joe's counting his millions and enjoying his Thanksgiving. As I continue to say, folks, starting today over the next 4 years, stay frosty. Do your research honestly. Check, fact check, check again, and make sure what you're saying, what you believe in, is actually accurate.